Alright guys, so I've been using the NV x360 for a couple of weeks now, and I really like it. However, I am a Linux user, so when I got this thing, neither the video nor the Wi-Fi chip works properly. And when I did research before I purchased it, I knew that the Vega graphics was not going to be supported, so I didn't worry so much about that. But the one thing I can't live without is to not be able to have internet. And what I've been using in the meantime is this USB Type-C Ethernet adapter dongle, which is fine, but there's not that many places to plug in at work or even at home. I mean, I have Ethernet jacks, so it's just kind of inconvenient to be tethered to a wall or a plug or something. So anyhow, the kernel that supports both the Wi-Fi and the Vega graphics on this laptop is, I think it's 4.15, and 4.15 is not due out until sometime in February. I think they're still writing it right now, and a full operating system or distribution based around that kernel is not due out until the end of April, at least in Ubuntu's sake. So as you can see, I have the computer working. It is really fast with the NVMe and the additional memory that I use. I have virtual machines that I run straight from my laptop, and it used to be the case where if I ran a virtual machine on my laptop, you know, stuff like internet browsing would be affected. It would be slow. Well, with this one, not the case. You can have your virtual machines running in the background and you won't really notice any difference so long as you're not like running a whole ton of them. So anyways, what I did was I decided that I couldn't wait the 4 or so months, so I purchased this MSI MSB 905C. It's based off the Intel 8265 Wi-Fi chip, and this is a PCIe Wi-Fi chip, and the difference between this one and, let's say, the older style, I'll go get one second. The difference is that when the new M.2 standard came out, it allowed you to have any kind of device hooked up to it, whereas you used to have these PCIe Wi-Fi chips. Like, this was a larger one, then you had stuff like around this size, and now you have stuff around this size. And in a nutshell, the easiest way to tell if you have what card you have versus what card you need or whatever is that this one obviously is going to be smaller than the other two, but it will only have one screw. So when you're looking for on Amazon, Newegg, or wherever you shop, if you see 2 screw holes at the top, you probably have the older standard. You're probably looking at the older standard, and you probably need to get the older standard. And in those, the only it's not really manufactured that much anymore, and I think the last Intel line of Wi-Fi chips that supported it was the 7000 series. This laptop came with the 7000 series in other versions, not in the Ryzen one, obviously, but in other editions. It either comes with the 7000 or 8000 series, and this is the 8000 8265. So this is what I'm going to be putting in the laptop today, and just so you know, you can see it works, but it might be hard to see. Let's see if I can show you. There you see the red network icon. There's nothing, so if I span that out, it has nothing, right? So anyhow, I'm gonna go turn this off now. Let's see, shut down. Sometimes it takes a little while to shut down. Okay, so turned it off. Okay, so how back to the Wi-Fi chip. How I got that chip was this card, which, as you can see the diagram, you are supposed to plug this into an empty PCIe 1X slot and a USB, I think for the Bluetooth. I'm not 100% sure. The reason why I bought it this way, here's the cable for the USB. Here's the card. The card was originally installed in this already, and I took it out before off camera. But it's not that cosmic. All you gotta do is take out this screw with, I think, like a Phillips 1 or 2 bit, and this piece here was over top of it. And anyhow, so this chip is installed here, and you have these antennae that screw into the back. The reason why I bought it this way was because afterwards what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade my home theater computer's Wi-Fi with the chip that I take out of this one, because I don't use Wi-Fi in it. It doesn't really matter. The more important part is that it has one of these things that allows me to use the M.2 format to install whatever Wi-Fi chip. So next time I need to upgrade or whatever, I can just put the new chip in there. And as well, I'm not just throwing away the card that I take out of this laptop. You know, the home theater computer, I don't rarely, if ever, use Wi-Fi, but it's nice to have that option in it. So anyways, I'm going to put that back. Since I'm now handling components, put that back in its bag. Okay. I guess I'll just keep this on the paper surface for now. Plug that. So the first thing we have to do, again, is, from my last video, is connect ourselves up to the ground. Let's get the plastic bag out again. Okay, let's remove that plastic bag. Okay, so like before, I'm going to use my iFixit kit to unscrew this. And these 3 screws right here, these are the Torque or T4 Torquex. Yeah, Torquex bits, T4. There's just 3 screws in here. My overall impressions with this laptop are pretty good. My only requirement is that I can take it apart, and also I wanted the Ryzen chip, so this met the requirements. So you just saw me peel off that sticker there. I'm putting it, saving the stickiness and sticking it on plastic right away. And the rest, so these 3 bits here were the only T4 T4 bits that you needed. So now I'm going to use a Phillips 0-bit to remove the screws here. And there's 4 of them. That one sometimes just doesn't come out. It'll come out eventually. Let's try to get that other bit out of there. Just take that out when I take everything out. So next thing is to, it's already kind of started here, is to separate the bottom of the laptop. And you see I have a plastic spudger. You do this so that you don't damage the laptop and whatever else is in there. Stick that in there like that. Go with the other side. And also, as a warning, do not run your fingers under in the metal here. As I said before last time, you will cut them. Great thing with iFixit kit is they come with a lot of these things. Let's move this around. One second. Here it comes. And you notice the plastic piece here is getting kind of scored from taking apart this laptop, so you don't want your fingers to do that. Off it comes. There we go. There we go. Screw saved. Okay. Now, as you can see, let me just fix this. I already replaced the hard drive, so there's no more hard drive in here with the NVMe SSD. I replaced the memory in here. I'm not going to be taking any of that stuff out, but what I am going to take out is the Wi-Fi chip, which is right there. You can kind of see the two antenna mounts, and the Wi-Fi chip that I have, as you can see, the antenna mounts are on the exact same side. So I got the service manual, and we're gonna go at this exactly the way they say. So according to the instructions, power cable connector number 1. Now, So first, obviously, we're going to take out the battery. And I think there's 7 screws. And that way we don't cause any shorts, just damage equipment. Whenever you work on the inside of a computer, it's always good to make sure you disconnect the power before you do anything with it, because you could damage yourself or the computer, depending on where you touch. Okay, so those screws just come out. There's one that's, where is it? Yeah, that one, there's no screw there. That would make it screw right into the touchpad. But so basically you slightly lift it up and you pull back and the battery comes out. And you want to avoid this little piece right here. Put the battery aside. Okay, so let's put our screwdriver down. And so the first one is power cable connector, which says is this one here. And this is just a simple pull and it comes out. That's not a power cable connector, but whatever. Looks like it's for the monitor. Then you have WLAN cable. So those are, because those are so small, I'm going to take my anti-static tweezers and gently lift them up from the back first. There we go. Okay. 3 is this connector here. Oh, yep, that's just a lift up. And then pull it out. You can see it's got edges to it. 4 is display ZIF cable. That was the webcam. This is the display. So that one looks like it's, no, that one also is a pull up. So there we go. Let's move that out of the way. And then we have the speaker cable. Speaker cable out. And then we have hard drive. Nope. What is this? Oh, this is the memory card reader cable. You do need to pull this one up. Even though it looks like it's on a board, the board doesn't move when you take the motherboard out. So that's, and then of course you have the hard drive, which I have taped down here, and you would lift that up and pull that out. But yeah, we don't need to do that. Put these back down just to protect the thing. Then you have the backlight. I don't have nails right now, so I need to use that. And then you have keyboard. There we go. And then finally the touchpad. Okay, so all those connectors are off. There's basically 10 of them around the board, 9 if you have this like mine. And then there's 11 screws. So let's go at this the way they have it, just for easy reference. I'll put my tweezers back. Okay, and the first one is one we're most interested in. So yeah, you got to kind of be careful with these really flat screws because they're very easy to strip. So you want to be using the correct bit. I used a Phillips Zero. The one on this card that I had, I almost stripped it, even though I had the right cable for the right screw bit, but it's so damn flat that there's just not much material if they secure it down. Okay, the next one is the 2 screws that secure system board to the keyboard top cover. Okay. Yeah. It does look like those have to come off. The next one is the rest of them. So first three is this one, that one, and that one. Then the rest of them are all going to be ones like this with the kind of that pinkish orange. So I'll go to this one first. And it's easy to determine if you have to screw one in because it's got a little arrow next to it. And unfortunately, to get the wireless module out, you have to take all of these out. You can't just go for, you know, 1 or 2. So that's 3, and then the rest there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess if I find another one. 1. And also make sure to use something like this to hold the screws so you don't lose any. That should be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that's it. Okay, so and now it says lift the system board, and then pull it out. So you'll notice that as I lifted it, this is the bottom of it. As I lifted it, the old wireless LAN module, this is kind of like a backwards way of installing it, but the old wireless module, or the one that came with the computer, kind of popped out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out and put the new one in there. So you basically just pull it out that way. Put it on that anti-static bag. And I'm going to put this back in exactly the way that the other one was in. So, yeah. Okay. And just kind of very carefully that back in there. So you kind of have to make sure everything, the ports kind of line up, and then you should be good to go. It looks like that. No, that's right. Apologize if my head's getting in the way. Okay, so let's just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 connectors. Okay. So since we're doing this in reverse order, we're gonna screw everything back in. I believe the first one was that one. And like I said, when you're putting this back in, all you're doing is making sure that you find the screw holes that have the little white triangles next to them, pointing you to where it's supposed to be secured. This is kind of a I've disassembled laptops before. This is kind of standard, at least for HP anyways. I believe I've seen it something, Dell has a different method. Sometimes they tell you what type of connector they use. And this is why it helps to have a magnetic screwdriver. What am I missing? So I got the 3 there. And also I'm not really tightening these extremely tight. 1, 2, 3. Oh, how did I miss that one? Okay. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 2. Yeah, this is the fan. If you wanted to remove the CPU cooler, you would take these screws off, and I'd already took those screws off, and you would then pull it out, but I'm not going to do that today because I have no reason to. Okay, screw this back in there. And last but not least, the M.2 screw. Okay, so for now that's all with this. So I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'm going to put this is the click pad. Oops. Yeah, these cables are kind of can be delicate. So let's get that thing down in there. There we go. Stuff it. So these, what they call them zero insert force connectors, but basically you lift the tab up and then you slide a cable in and then you clamp it down. The cable should hit up against something, and then there's a nice click when you put them down. 9 is the keyboard. This is a common method. Before, mostly keyboards would be using this. Mostly only keyboards on laptops anyways. So there's a point where it will sit in the middle and it won't move. Sometimes they have these hard plastic pieces to guide you. But yeah, once it's in, you'll know. And this is the backlight. Okay, that goes right here. I'm not going to do that because I don't have a hard drive. Next is the SSD. Okay. Not SSD, sorry, that's the memory card slot. Then this is the speaker cable. Gotta have that sound. And then this is which is an uncommon method. Usually monitors have a connector like that, but this one doesn't. So I'm going to put that in there like that. There we go. Okay. Make sure. Okay. And then comes this, which is the webcam. It feels like it's integrated. Then, this webcam cable has a little routing there. There's a little lip there that keeps it routed properly. Then these are the antenna for the webcam or the Wi-Fi. You kind of have to be careful with them because they're, as you can see from this, they are. Let's see if I can get that to focus right. There we go. They are kind of delicate. They're really small, so that's a tip of tweezer there. Here's my thumbnail. Yeah. So they are very delicate, but generally you should know when you have it positioned correctly. I'm going to use two. Okay. They do this little clicky popping sound when you get them in just right. Sometimes not. Okay. Hopefully my head wasn't in the way there. So that's the LAN. Now I guess the power cable for the monitor and the screen. Put that in there. Just used my end of my fingernail. Gotta have to be careful with that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna screw in the battery. Just a couple of screws. I'm gonna put it in like this, and I'm gonna put the cover on and turn the laptop on and test to make sure that everything works. And once it does, then I'll go ahead and put all the rest of the battery screws in and everything. But let's get that battery secured. I'm going to do unscrew here and unscrew here. And one here. Okay, let's get the cover back on there. Just reading all the little stickers on the bottom here. So once I have the battery in there, it is the power is live, so you kind of want to avoid touching anything. Oh yeah, but you'll get this. The CMOS checksum, that's fine. Okay, so as you can see, speakers work, display works. I now have Wi-Fi. Let's go through this list one by one. Okay, power display works. The wireless obviously works. Webcam, microphone. I'm not going to test that. Display still works. Speaker cables obviously work. Let's turn that off. Display, speakers, memory card reader. I don't have a memory card on hand to test it, but I believe it works. I don't have hard drive. The backlight here works just fine. So backlight. Keyboard obviously works. I'm using it. ClickPad connector works. It's an easy enough fix to open it up and redo the connector. So I turned it off, and I'm gonna take the cover off again. Okay. So let's finish up the battery. Okay. So obviously, as you saw, successful test. Everything seems to be working just fine. I'm going to now put everything back together. I'm also going to, as a bonus, install the M.2 in that card that I have. Okay, so let's get this tape off and put this thing on here. So as you can see, it comes, there's the battery, it comes out like that. It's kind of hard to screw this up. Stop, crackle, pop. These are the 4 Phillips screws that you can use a Phillips 0 head with or less. So I'm going to put that head away. Get the T4. I guess you can remember the Phillips head 0, but or the Torx the Terminator 4 movie was the crappy one, or the one that no one likes, I guess. Alright. And do the 3 screws in the front. Oh, this is the side with the magnet. Again, I'm not screwing these very, very like super tight, because one, you'll strip the screw, and the other, the thing that the screw is attached to on the bottom isn't always necessarily the strongest thing either. So just enough force is good enough. So let's take this off. Alright, let's line that up just right. Hopefully I won't have to open this thing for a very long time. There we go. So let's plug that plugger back in now. And charging light comes on. Let's put it over here. Okay. This is a Realtek RTL8822BE. So this is all the stuff that came with it. I believe the screw head is a little bit larger on this one. Or I need a larger one because I almost stripped the screw last time. So basically there's with these connectors, there's basically only one way you can do it. So obviously it's not going to go in that way. It's kind of easy. So basically you get it in at like a 30-degree angle or something like that, and then you push it in, and it should just go all the way in. And it's much easier to fasten it down before you try to go for the bit gets stuck in there now that it's stripped. Alright, so I'm going to need this thing again. So now, instead of having a card that I'm not going to be able to do anything and have to try to sell on eBay or something, I can actually use the card. So these are just coaxial cables. If it goes in there, it will not move. And these connectors are rated only for a certain amount of plugs and unplugs, so you don't want to be doing this all the time. So there's the cable. There's the card. These are the antenna. And that's a screw that goes up there. Oh yeah, and this thing came with one of these things, which I've never seen before in my life, but whatever. Let's put it on there. And I suppose it just makes sure that nothing ever comes off. Might be pointless, but who knows. Yeah. Let's hook it on there. That's that first. There we go. Nice and tight. And there you have it. I have one laptop with a working Wi-Fi chip, and I have one Wi-Fi card that I can now install in a demo computer. This video probably took longer than the last one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.